The national minimum wage debate has been expanded to include the local government areas in the country. The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, Algon for short, has weighed in on the minimum wage debate. Algon National President Aminu Muazu Meifata said it would be difficult for some local government areas in the country to pay 62,000 naira minimum wage that is proposed. He revealed that the 30,000 naira pay approved in 2019 is still difficult for some council areas to pay. Of course, Meifata revealed that the allocation from the Federation account, the Federation Allocation Committee, FAAC, would not be perhaps would not give enough to pay the 62,000 naira. We're still a long, long way from home. Wale.
Yes, I think there's no doubt about that. And I know that out of the 774 local governments, a lot of them will not be able to pay the minimum wage. It's not just about what they get, from the federal government or states, but also about their revenue generation capacity. If you go to some of these local governments, you'll be shocked about what is going on there. And even this 18,000 that we are 30,000 naira, some states, even when it was 18,000, some local government cannot pay. So, and that's why I'm saying that, labor still needs to do a lot of research and documentation, because Algon that is talking is also part of labor, So if Algon is saying that some local governments cannot pay 62,000 naira, then, and labor is insisting on, more than, insisting
215,000.
So you can see the contradiction. So because the Algon we are talking about, they are workers directly working with local government, so they know the figures. They are the ones that put their pen to put the figures together, so they know what they are saying. And I think it boils down to the fact that what we have been saying, labor needs to do a lot in terms of research, in terms of documentation, in terms of what comes into each state, and in terms of what they think the government should do in order to be able to pay, the minimum that they are requesting for. Because if you are not careful, there may be chain impact that will affect all of us. Look at how much we are selling tomatoes now. 15,000 naira just yesterday. One pint of tomatoes. Look at even walnuts, 1,000 naira. How many pieces? Just about 6 pieces. So what are we talking about? So you could see that prices of items, bread, 1,500 naira, the big one. So everything is going beyond the reach of the common man.
It's like, Wale, it's like you are watching a poorly produced
script.
Poorly produced home video.
Yeah, I can't believe what I'm saying.
Unfolding before your eyes.
Look at, potatoes, the pint of tomato, beans used to be about, I think, 1,500 naira, 2,000. It's now 7,500 naira.
No, so I hear 9,000, 10,000.
Yeah, maybe it has to go up because of the, of the festival. So you see, we are shocked. In fact, we can no longer breathe. So we agree there must be increase, but we have to be meticulous. We have to be painstaking to ensure that it's not going to be counterproductive. Because I don't know how we really want to manage. If you earn, let's say, 100,000 naira per month, and you are paying about 40,000 naira for electricity. So how do you want to cope? Prices of electricity has gone up. Charges for, communication companies, your phone now, they have increased the prices. Even banks, frivolous charges. So do they want to kill us? They are telling us to prepare for tomorrow. But we don't want to die. If we die today, how are we going to see tomorrow? So things are extremely bad. But the issue may not just be increase in minimum wage, because if you are not careful, it may lead to counter, problems that you are going to find out that even when you collect that 62,000 naira or 100,000 naira, you may find it difficult to purchase essentials of life.
All right, gentlemen, we must take a breather here. We have a commercial break. We should be back. Okay, welcome back, folks. Yusuf, Algon is saying the 62,000 naira which you are canvassing, even local governments cannot pay it.
Well,
many local government, the president says, cannot pay it.
Well, there's something.
That's the president of Algon.
I'm not faulting his claim. You get what I'm saying? Look at the sharing formula of national revenue. The local governments, 744. I think they take about 20%.
20.6%.
All the 774 local governments in Nigeria.
Minus one back at
the the states 36. You know,
federal 52.
State 26.72%.
The federal government takes more than 52 because by the time you calculate ecological form, so we are seeing. Let's go back to the right narrative. I haven't seen it in our conversation, and the state of national discourse, reveals a lot about the health or future of any society. National minimum wage. National minimum wage. In a democracy, we have done everything from the federal government to the labor union to the states to local. All we have done the wrong thing. In any country, we pattern our system along the American experiment.
After the American type democracy.
Look at the national minimum wage in America. The government only fixes national minimum wage.
Well, in America, they earn by the hour.
It's the same thing, whether you calculate it per hour or you calculate it per month. But what they are trying to do is to prevent exploitation. And when the federal government fixes it, what happens in any state is the bigger one operates. And in most states in America, there is no even state that is not even doing more than the federal.
And because they are federating units.
Go and check District of Columbia. It's probably paying the highest. You get what I'm saying? There are cities. If you go to California, you will see several municipals, you see several cities, you see several counties having their own minimum wage. In fact, as I like times 3 of national minimum wage. The point I was trying to make is Nigeria is a federal, country. I mean, that's what we need to be operating. Why must somebody in Lagos State, where the cost of living is very high, hand the same thing with somebody in Oye-Ekiti? It is not the same. We need to bring back, the right conversations. When the labor is in national labor, no. It is workers in Lagos State. We agitate or whatever it is with those in charge of Lagos State. And whatever they agree, they are not going to be banned by what President Tinubu signed. No. In fact, what President Tinubu will sign, should not even be too high. So that any state, that is
President Tinubu's border here is federal workers.
But that is why we are saying it should not be. You will see the state in Nigeria whenever the federal government...
But that's what the rule says.
That is why we should change it. This is improper. The man who is a professor at the University of Lagos, we want to, and the man who is a professor at Federal University of Oye-Ekiti cannot hand the same amount. It's wrong anywhere. It only happens in Nigeria. You operate wages based on cost of living and what is agreed. But we need to make everything, because Nigeria, we turn everything upside down.
So how do we take this home now?
We need to bring the right conversations on board. That's what the Ajero led and his team, what they are doing. Well, in a normal democracy, in a normal federal system, it's wrong. What the federal government and they are all wrong. What we should be doing, is for federal workers. The states, all of them have absolute powers to negotiate. Do you know that most Nigerian states are not even paying 30,000 minimum wage? I say most, because you have about 20-something states that are not doing it. What are we now saying?
Out of 36.
Yes. Look at the man, Algon man, you thought he was playing politics. No, he was saying the reality. You may not like what he said, but that is the reality. 774 local government. How many of them? Even when the states, when I still check, it's about Lagos, Oyo, Rivers. Not many states are able to pay the old minimum wage, and yet we are here talking 62, 250,000, all those things. Please,
all right then.
We need to change the narrative. It is not proper. Go and check most American states, out of their 50 states, pay like times 3, times 2 of the national minimum wage.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Wale, how do you take this one home?
Well, I think the U.S. has a national minimum wage of $7.25, which means that
per hour.
That they don't expect any state to pay below that. Like I said, some states pay more than that, you know. And I think
based on their earning ability.
Yeah.
Or their solvency.
Yeah, so it's never the same, you know, nationally. But I think beyond the issue of minimum wage, our country must address the problem of wealth creation. We must address, and you cannot talk about wealth creation without looking at monopoly of the means of production, especially land and capital. Local governments, if there are industries, you will discover that most people will not even work with the civil service. They will move to those industries. Why is boxing, textile industry in Kaduna, production industries in Akwa Ibom that were booming in the 80s. And in fact, the least, when you come out of school, the least place anybody wanted to work was to go to the civil service. But now, when you come out of university, you are just looking for anything. If I want to take you to civil service, you will rush it and grab it with your 2 hands. The civil service is supposed to be a small population of workers, while we have an industrial complex that employs hundreds of thousands of people.
You just talked about textile industry, in passing. But do you know, until recently, I never knew there were up to 400 of them.
Yeah.
Immobilized now because they are not functional.
Sure.
Look at Aswani here in Lagos.
Even when you're at university on holidays, you come and work in factories and then you earn a living. But those factories have been converted into faith-based organizations. And you see, there are people are talking about factories leaving Nigeria. You see, it's a very bad thing, but it could be turned into an advantage. If factories are leaving, they are not leaving the country with their workers. They are not leaving the country with the skilled workers. They are not leaving the country with the land, even the machines. So, a responsible government will have engaged them and even take over those machines that are leaving behind. What happens is that when they leave, those places will be taken over by either churches or mosques. And those factories, go to boxing, see those factories are still there. Those machines are still there. What is the federal government doing in terms of engaging those that are leaving so that they can replace them with local workforce? We are not doing that. If a big company leaves your country, it can be an advantage. You can take over the process, employ more people, and then take over the ownership of such an industry.
Put simply, as we agreed earlier on, our problems are created by us.
Yeah.
And only us can solve these problems.
And we need that will and determination and honesty of purpose to be able to resolve the problem. It's not just about minimum wage. You must create wealth to be able to make our country to be a prosperous.
All right. We can. Yes, we can. I remember that line. Yes, we can.
We can.
Yes, we can. Okay, then. Let's take on our last story.